run cards. Well, it's August, we're not on run cards. They told you in December, sign the contracts, everybody's on the run cards. They lied to you. So what gives me the confidence they're gonna walk into this meeting and say, well, we're gonna put them on the run cards? I've done run cards. 2 weeks it took me to do them, okay? And that was working on them here and there. They're not hard. They are not hard. The SOPs, I told Penrod, we were going to be changing our SOPs because, as you know, we dropped an apparatus because of the lack of the manpower, and every fire company has done this in this town, or is in the process of doing this. So we did that. Well, now our bylaw, our SOPs have to start reflecting that. I am working on those. But we have SOPs in place from the previous administration that we are working off of. Now, Pat did ask to see those SOPs, which is, in the fire service, you don't do. I've talked to neighboring fire companies, and they said, we won't even give them to people to look at, to make their own SOPs off of. It's not heard of to be giving SOPs to other fire companies. So this is what we do, okay? They called in, and it was 23 fire companies, as far as South Wales.
I got the call from Amber Dispatch. I got every.
We are 2 miles away from that call, and to say he forgot about us, he didn't forget when it came time to clean that hose. And the rest of their fire company was standing there watching us do it. It took every bit of myself and my crew to send them up there to make them look like we're just, second best to help them out. But we did it. We stayed professional. That's what I'm asking for out of this fire company to the south of us. They haven't done it. So what can, and I talked to a fire company in the neighboring town. I'm not going to say, some of you know who that is. They told me they would have got on the radio and told them, screw you, we're not coming. We're going back in service. It's a big fire company that said it. They can't understand how the town board has allowed Pat Penrod to do that. Yes, we are 3 subcontracted, but you are the main authority under that. They have to listen to you.
Well, I've been in contact with you about this. Mr. Walters too, about this, and Mr. Gensel. And we are pulling them in. We were under the impression, when they told us at the meeting, you're on the run cards, you're on the run cards.
And for them to say it's a mistake, it was an error?
I don't go and check their run cards, I don't.
No, you leave the faith of the fire companies to do what is right. And one other fire company did what was right in town. We all have differences. Every fire company, they compete against each other, they have differences. But when it comes time for action, we're all there together regardless. And we have been for them, and we expect in return. And we haven't.
We will be addressing all these issues. Yourself, president of the company, will be there.
We have a 9-1 down there at Kane. That was a past chief. He's going through for, I believe, the second time. For him to say he forgot, I don't buy it. And it just, it's crazy. It really is. The fact is that it gets lost in the matter that we save lives, okay? We protect life. But we're also there to protect property. People forget that. And just as much as life is valuable, so is people's property. They work long and hard for that stuff. And to have this crap go on, it's a black eye to this town. And I don't care if 911 was on scene and Pat wasn't there, he is the chief, it falls on him. The run cards are there, so the human element is taken out of it. The quote-unquote forget is taken out of it, because Hamburg Dispatch will say, okay, here's what's on the run cards, boom, they're toned out. You don't have to, because there's enough on scene what's going on to worry about. So if these run cards were done, this problem wouldn't happen. But to call somebody out from South Wales and not us,
Mr. Gillard, we will be addressing all these issues right in that meeting.
Hope so, because then one last thing. Dan Reckleck, I believe is his last name, the president of Boston, was down at our hall with some of our seasoned guys, okay, friends of his. Came out and said that Dan Teal was easily manipulated by Gene to take us off the run cards. Now, that's the president of their fire company saying that. Whether he spoke out of turn or not with them, that's their issue. But that's what he told us.
Okay.
I think that, I'm going to say it right now, I think there's inept leadership down there, big time. It's cause for concern.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Ardell Rolls from Lever Road. 4 years ago, the town highway department decided they were going to change the ditches on Lever Road. For some reason, my property marker was necessary. Somebody's supposed to replace it. Now it's 4 years. Why hasn't it been done? Anybody tell me?
I've never believed you contacted me to replace it, and I don't know. if
I'm gonna tell you, young
I
man.
don't remember if we didn't remove it.
Yes, you did.
I
Who
don't
else?
know.
Who else did? You're the people up there
I
digging.
have no idea who might have.
Oh, yeah, okay, well, that's the reason why I won't talk to you. I want this in public forum. You don't like me because you
Sure, I like
stood
you. Why
up.
wouldn't I like you?
You come out and said right here, and I've got the meeting minutes about that you said that I come out and told your people that it wasn't gonna work, that what they were doing.
Well, that is very true.
No, it isn't, sir. I tell you what, I learned very young in life to keep a diary. And I have a diary of what I said that day.
Oh, okay.
And I said, do you think it will work? That was what I said. But you said that you're gonna take your toys and go somewhere else and work. That's your
That's
word.
very correct. You're right.
Yep. Who's gonna replace it?
What's your address, Mr. Ryan?
I'm sorry?
What is your address on?
6741.
I'll stop up there and see what's going on. If it's a survey marker and it can't be found,
It's gone.
it
It's
will
gone.
replace the survey marker.
And trying to stare me down and intimidate me, piss ends don't intimidate me.
I will get taken, I don't want to take up too much time because I know Legislator Mills has.
Thank you, Mr. Ardell.
Thank you. I know Legislator Mills wants to speak too. Nobody else? I got voted.
Daniel Currick, 6554 Chestnut Lane, town of Boston. Approximately 2.5 years ago, 27 truckloads of fill were brought down our street. Me and the gentleman sitting over there, Mr. Burns, live at the end of the road. It's a short dead-end street. Somebody else down the road called the police, called the councilman. Some of the councilmen came up. Marty, you were there. Mr. Ferguson came up to stop the fill. And Butch, that was 2.5 years ago. We have city water, right? We don't have well water to worry about. And Town of Boston code states that you cannot put fill within 50 foot of a neighbor's property. To the town code, I'd have written before you were in town, right? That is being violated to this day, 2.5 years later. The town has informed us that they have taken the person that was responsible for dumping the fill, who doesn't even live on Chestnut Lane, lives on another street, they have taken him to court. Is this true?
I can let the town attorney answer.
I think Mr. Goldberg, and you're referring to Mr. Goldberg.
Yes, Mr. Goldberg.
He went to the town court. I don't know what the disposition was, but I know he was brought up for the illegal dump.
Okay, so he did go to court.
Yes.
We don't know what the
I don't
verdict
know.
was or whatever that they call that.
That's correct. I don't know what the disposition was.
On state court.
Okay. And the last thing is, which Councilman Genzel, I don't want to put him on the spot, but twice in one of these meetings, 2 separate meetings, I should say, has said that our road, the end of our road, is an environmental disaster. Councilman Genzel's words, not mine. I just thought maybe you should be aware of that, while you're talking to the DDC and everybody else about the fill up there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Marty, sorry, I'd just like to
Go
say,
ahead.
if somebody comes up to check on this pin, I'd like to be notified.
Okay, I'll give it to you after the meeting.
Okay?
Okay. Legislator Mills, welcome.
You know, government works best at the local level. This is no exception here this evening, so thanks for having me out here. And good evening to all the residents. I spent a lot of time in Boston this year, a couple of events I had out here, and it was really enjoyable. I want to just review a couple of things with you. First of all, I want to introduce my new legislative assistant, Nancy Heath. Nancy, stand up a second. We had her on staff as one of the receptionists downtown for about 6-7 months, almost a year. And then Karen Weisbeck, who for years was my assistant, she retired and I moved Nancy in that position. So she's Southtown girl, she's from Orchard Park. Hard worker and a good follow-up person. And there sure is a bed in heaven for working with me. So please reach out to her. She's a good person to work with. Just to tell you a couple of things that are going on in county government. First of all, we had our mid-budget hearings here in June, and we went through all the departments, brought them in, talked about what their budgets were, where they stood 6 months into the year, and thankfully, they're all on target, and some of them had some surplus, which is great, because we're going into our budget hearings to formulate the new budget when it comes out by the county executive, so good news there. Let's talk about roads now, because I certainly had more roads in my district than any other legislator. A couple things down where John Anthon's business is, we bid out that culvert, and they'll be put in place in the next 30, hopefully next 30 to 45 days, it'll be done. So that's gonna take care of it. Thank goodness we hadn't had any rain lately, because we don't know what else is out there. We had a mild winter and a dry summer. But you know as well as I do, it's going to catch up with us, so we're waiting for the other shoe to drop there. So some good news is that the state of New York sent $2 million more in road funding to Erie County. And of course, I immediately asked the county executive if I could add 1.8 million of it, so he's considering it. But, so we're working on multiple fronts. One of the things I'll tell you quite honestly, and you have to know this because it involves getting involved with what I do best is bird dog the departments in county government, like I did when I was a councilman in Orchard Park. The county executive said, well, it's getting too difficult for our people in highway to do business with the legislators who request information. Geez, that's too bad. I thought that's what they were there for. Anyway, so now he has this crazy system where I have to send all my information to his legislative assistant in the county. So that means we have another form of bureaucracy between the highway, the county executive, and this guy who's a liaison who works for the county executive. So that's out the window. I'm not going to abide by that. I'll tokenly send information to this kid, but the bottom line is you got to stay in touch directly with the commissioner, the deputy commissioner, the county engineer, and we got a new guy in charge of this district, Joe Donlin. And so we're doing the right things finally, but I'm not going to allow the county executive, even though he does control these departments, to form another layer of bureaucracy that we don't need between the highway people and this legislator, or any legislator. That's not going to happen. So you're going to see some sparks and fireworks when the county executive gets back from his trip he went on. And now, on a lighter note, I have finally, it's taken me 7 years to get this document. Just 7, because the county government really works quick. It's called the Hotspot Fishing Map. This is the new revised edition. And this thing is just great. It's a lot of things that were in the old edition. This is the new edition. And you want to find a fish, get one of these from your town clerk. They're here, they're available. They even have charter captains' names in here. So I can tell you, I personally will be out next Wednesday because I'm in the Fishery Advisory Committee with Chautauqua and Niagara County officials in my 4th annual fishing trip out of Dunkirk Harbor. We go out 7 miles, drop a line 60 feet in the water and come back with some nice fish, because that tells you what's happening here. We have a fishery, it's probably one of the top freshwater fisheries in the world. That's a fact. Right here in 3 counties, Cattaraugus, Chautauqua, and Erie County, and throw Niagara in there also. So we're on the crust of a really good economic boost here. This map is really gonna help tell the residents, hey, there's someplace in the south towns besides Hamburg. There's something south of Hamburg. And I've always preached that as a legislator. So a lot of things are in here. Please pick one up with your clerk. If you need more, we'll get more out to you. This is a great resource. And then my Cameo Community Resource Guide. And this wasn't my idea, put my face on the front of this thing, but it's there. And saving paper, I'm not gonna reprint it without my name, so it's there. Anyway, pick up these at the clerk also. These are great documents to have, and list all the county phone numbers. And if for some reason you wanna reach out to somebody and you can't get any satisfaction by calling these numbers, you reach out to Nancy Heath back there and she'll cut through the red tape and get some information for you. So that's kind of all I had. I worked very hard on the budget, so we have some dollars that go back to the taxpayers in the town here in Boston and other towns in Erie County, and also try to control and work with both sides of the aisle in the legislature to get some things done. And as chairman for the last 3 years, this is my 3rd year, they keep dragging me back in, but I'm happy to be the chairman. We've got just over 97% of the votes in the legislature in the last 3 years have been 11-0. That's good for the taxpayers of Erie County, because we're on the same page, doing good things and not fighting among each other and playing politics at the county level. That was something that was very, very distasteful to me when I got on there coming from the town board. But it's working, and I put forth a business approach, run government like a business, and it's still a great hobby I enjoy, and I hope to stick around for a little while longer. So thanks again for allowing me to speak this evening. And any questions the board members may have?
Do they, I know back a few years ago when Lynn was out here in Dixon, they were supposed to budget money for the Hillcroft Bridge to be replaced. And Lynn said that was on there, and then they took it off to be replaced. That bridge is in pretty poor shape. We've had huge potholes in it. If you go underneath the bridge, they've put steel underneath it to hold it up, and that steel's moving. I'm just wondering if they're doing any bridge replacements in the town of Boston this year.
I have not seen it on the agenda, although we have been, is that bridge flagged?
Yes, it is, and Mill Street too, they're both in terrible
Okay.
shape.
Let me,
Lynn Dixon told us years and years ago that those bridges were scheduled to be fixed, also Trevor Road,
it's the whole bridge of the deck.
the whole bridge.
Oh, Bridge, okay. I was at the Croft Bridge, Hillcroft Bridge. I was there and walked around with, I think you were there, Bob, too.
I believe so.
Right, I went to Charlie Sickler, the county engineer. Okay, I will address it. Did they post a weight limit on it?
Yes, there is. There's no hour permits. There used to be a 10-ton, then they took it off, but right now it's just no hour permits.
Fire truck.
Yeah, bridges and roads, especially bridges, you know, are on the high part of the list because we're replacing the decking on the Berg Road Bridge down in West Seneca, Orchard Park. That thing is a disaster, but that's been flagged. So the state is very aggressively pursuing the counties to get those bridges done. So I'll report back to you, but I'm glad you brought that back up.
That definitely the Hillcroft, you know, the Apache Fire Chief said that their weight limit was 20 25 ton, or his trucks are 25 tons.
And there's a 4-ton weight
It's
limit.
a 4-ton weight limit.
It doesn't work, does it? Better go across that bridge pretty quick.
The road used to have a 4-ton weight limit, the bridge did not.
Okay. I'll check into it and can report back to you. Bill Gary, the deputy commissioner, will be back from vacation next week.
Thank you.
Okay?
I
Any
have a
questions?
question for Representative, excuse me, Legislature Bell.
Yes.
I don't know if it would be for, my name is Joanne, I live on Peleas Road, and there's several of the roads in the town of Boston have been, well, this is a two-part question, chipped and oiled, and I want to know, this is the first time I remember being on the road, is that normal procedure? I've never seen it, and how that's going to hold up for the winter, number one. And number two is, biking in western New York is, outdoor sports, Buffalo have been growing. And when the 391 was recently paved last year, they didn't extend it maybe like 2 feet on either side, they just did it between the two stripes. I was wondering what it would take to get a bike lane there or extend the blacktop a little further. I've noticed a lot more people are biking on 391 and they don't really, there's not really enough room for them. In some areas there is, but a lot of it's just that chipped old stuff and they won't go there to make it safe. So like for instance, going to work this morning, a lot of people were veering off the double yellow on 391 to avoid bikers. So is this something that can be put into the budget for a bike lane in the future for safety reasons? I think it would be beneficial to the town. And again, to the first question, the chipping and the oiling of some of the major roadways, and how is that different, and how is it going to hold up in winter? So, thank you.
Okay, first part, you have to understand that county government operates on what we call crisis management. Preventive maintenance sneaking in there a little bit, but in our towns, we do things much better. We actively have programs in place where we do our roads. Now, the oil and chip is basically to help preserve the road until we can get there and redo the road. But as you know, oil and chip, like I walk Falls and West Fall Road with some friends of mine at 5:30 in the morning, and there's big holes. Now, that's not my district anymore, but I do walk, and there's big holes in that road. It was oil and chipped. Oil and chip tries to preserve the road until, final remediation can be done. But it's a pain in the neck. It doesn't, most of the time, it doesn't work. It gets the residents upset because the stones are flying in the air, doing a job on your car, and it's dusty, and there's piles of this stuff. And if it's not applied properly, it's ineffective. So we're working on trying to get that a better situation there. They have a milling situation, they have a skid paving situation they're starting to use more, which is a better formula. Now, getting on pedestrians and bikes on the roads, I've been on the legislature my 11th year, and I spent 10 of it trying to get Lake Avenue, town of Orchard Park, reconstructed. Finally, we did. Two things they did not do: put the mailboxes properly, and second of all, they set the road up so that it's too narrow to have bikes safely on them and pedestrians. But the county will tell you, highway will tell you, these are specs, federal specs that they went after, and this is what they have to do. Well, that may be the case, but it's not the right way, the common sense, the rational way of repairing and redoing roads. You have to look out for the pedestrians. People walk the roads and they say, well, these are rural roads. They don't need sidewalks, they don't need this, they don't need that. But the state of New York says we need more bike lanes, we need more areas where pedestrians can walk. I mean sidewalks. Well, county will tell you, well, you want a sidewalk, you go to your town board and have them put it in, and that's nonsense. Everybody in this room is a county taxpayer, and you deserve those dollars, and you deserve a better road and safer road. And I was on 391, I've had discussions last year with a number of people on what they did. They went out there and finally paved it, but, everything else is, well, we did it by the specs, and that's all we're gonna do. We're gonna put sidewalks in, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. It's what we can't do all the time. That's the response. But I'm working hard on trying to get more of those things accomplished. Now, Boston Springville Road, which is really the secondary road to the 219 expressway. Okay, I finally, I haven't seen it happen yet, but I finally got a confirmation we're gonna start on Route 39, intersection of 39 Boston Springville Road, and work north to take up all the blacktop, redo the drainage, and set in a new road. Now, hopefully, this year we'll be able to take it from 39, intersection 39, down to beyond Sharp Road in the town of Concord, and move it from there into Boston, so we can take care of that road. It's the second worst road in Erie County. And I can tell you, the worst road in Erie County also happens to be in my district, and that's Old Lake Shore Road. If you've ever been on Old Lake Shore Road? Multi-million-dollar homes, beautiful aesthetic scenery overlooking the lake, great cliff, cultural heritage for us. Road, you take your life in your hands to walk it, bicycle it, and drive it. But now there's a ray of hope. They're going to start at Connor's Hot Dog Stand, if you know where that is, mill it out, do the drainage, and taking that north. Now, I hope I live long enough to see that road taken care of, but I can tell you, it's like pulling teeth when it comes to trying to get things done in the county. That doesn't mean we're not going to get things done. We're going to get things done, but on the oil and chip, it's a patchwork, approach to getting something done. And bicycles and pedestrians has to come first, and I'm gonna work very hard to take care of that wherever I can. And I'll take care of those bridges too. We're gonna get them taken care of, along with, I think, 6 roundabouts in my district that are proposed. But it's all, we need, our budget's $31 million for roads and bridges. Okay. In order to catch up and stabilize this thing, we need $52 million a year for the next 20 years. Just to give you an idea. So, our boys in the federal government down in Washington DC, stop spending the money somewhere outside of our country and take the 83% of the infrastructure in this country, that's sewers, waters, roads, bridges, and put that money back into our country. And guess what? We'll have great infrastructure, good water, good sewer treatment plants, and something else that's gonna happen if we do that. We're gonna have more jobs. Duh. Okay, so I apologize for my frustrations this evening, but I'm sick and tired of the way government works. But I'm gonna work hard for the town of Boston and all the people, because we vote on all the people in Erie County. Thanks again.
Thank you, John. Just to answer Mrs. Bonzak's questions, when they milled that road, that blacktop usually actually went farther off so people could bike. But when they milled it and then they laid blacktop driveways, and it's almost like they swerved it in and filled the rest with millions. And when they were called by the town to, are they gonna pave that? Their answer was, we don't have the money to do that, where they used to bike, the county.
No, I was talking specifically on 391 also.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
On 391?
Yes.
The shoulders.
The shoulders, they milled them all out and they put millings in. And when we called them on it, they said, we don't have, the county says, we don't have the money to blacktop that. I said, well, why didn't you take the blacktop out in the first place then? Why didn't you just mill the center part and leave the bike lane? And they put the millings in. And I said, that's all they're gonna do.
Thank you.
Item number 3, under new business, Boston Emergency Squad. Councilman Keenan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. At this time, I have an appointment for the Boston Emergency Squad. It's for Aaron Thurston. The address is 167 Belmont Ave in Kenmore. They have purchased a house in Hamburg. They'll be closing in August 2016. They're looking to appoint this individual, and I would like to make a motion to approve Aaron Thurston being appointed to the Boston Emergency Squad.
I will second it.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Genzel,
Yes.
Supervisor Bello,
Yes.
Councilman Bordway,
Yes.
Councilman Keating.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item number 4 is designation of official town newspaper. Nobody knows that the Hamburg Sun and Springville Journal have closed. So we need to designate a new town newspaper. So at this time, we give a motion to designate the Buffalo News as the official town newspaper.
And I'll second that.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Genzel,
Yes.
Supervisor Ballo,
Yes.
Councilman Bordway,
Yes.
Councilman Keating.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item number 5 is Resolution 2016-16, New York State Sheriff's Association Yellow Dot Program. Councilman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Bear with me all. It is a decent amount of reading here. But it says, at a regular meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Boston, Erie County, New York, held at Boston Town Hall, 8500 Boston State Road, Boston, New York, on the 3rd day of August, 2016, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Prevailing Time, whereas Supervisor Martin Bailow, Councilman Jeffrey A. Gensel, Councilman J.P. Bordway, Councilman Jason A. Keating, and Councilman Zachary A.W. Munger were present. And we are presenting the following resolution and move for its adoption. Whereas, the New York State Sheriff's Association Yellow Dot Program was designed to help for first responders providing life-saving medical attention during the golden hour after a crash or emergency event. And whereas a yellow dot decal adhered to the driver's side rear window of a vehicle will alert first responders that vital medical information for the driver and/or passengers are stored in the vehicle's gloved compartment. And whereas the yellow dot program can be also utilized at a residence by placing the decal on an entry door of the dwelling as to alert first responders that important medical information for one or more of the residents within the dwelling can be located in a clear plastic bag in the freezer compartment of the refrigerator. And whereas the Erie County Sheriff Timothy B. Howard and the Sheriff's Office has staff and resources dedicated to raising awareness of the Yellow Dot program in the towns, villages, and communities throughout Erie County. And whereas the Sheriff's Office has encountered situations where a yellow dot decal has been helpful to first responders at the scene of an incident and contributed to the fast and proper triage of a victim. Sorry, I don't usually see that word written down. And now therefore be resolved that the Town of Boston does hereby recognize the life-saving potential of the Yellow Dot program, and be it further resolved that this honorable body declares the Town of Boston as a Yellow Dot community and encourages all of its citizens to sign up for and participate in the life-saving program, life-saving Yellow Dot program.
Is there a second?
A second.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Genzel,
Yes.
Supervisor Ballo,
Yes.
Councilman Bordway,
Yes.
Councilman Keating.
Yes.
Carried.
Item number 6 is scheduled CDBG public hearing. Councilman Genzel.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. It's that time again of the year for our Community Development Block Grant application. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to schedule the public hearing for the annual CDBG grant application for September 21st, 2016 at 7:40 p.m.